I wasn't gonna make a video about Ernest until his album eventually dropped, but a man can only properly take in and digest so much information before he is forced to sit down in front of a microphone and create a YouTube video thoroughly exploring his overflow of excitement. And that's where I'm at today. I cannot keep quiet about this anymore. Ernest woke up on Friday and decided, you know what? Rather than drop one song like I promised, how about I drop all three tracks I was teasing, officially announce the album, and give them a date, which, by the way, is in 2 freaking weeks! Yeah, there's a lot to digest. So this video is just going to be me working my way through this. There's a few different aspects of this new output I want to touch on. A lot of positives, some things I'm feeling a bit meh on, and other things I'm unsure about. Anyways, I need to stop introducing this video like it's some pre-organized, thoughtfully structured video because, truth be told, it's 10 a.m. on a Saturday and I've just sat down at my desk with a plate of pancakes to just vent. That's all this video basically is. So first up, the very first thing we've got to address, the album announcement itself. The record is titled Flower Shops, the album, and man, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, given all the positive feelings I'm gonna express over the next several minutes, it feels weird to start on a negative note, but like, I just don't think this title's it. The part that annoys me is the fact it literally says the album in the title. Walker Hayes did this with Country Stuff, the EP, and then Country Stuff, the album, and now Ern is doing it, and I just hope this doesn't become a trend, because to me it just seems really stupid, mostly because it feels completely redundant. Like, thank you for telling me it's an album. Know how else I could have figured out it was an album? The fact it's an album. It's listed as an album on your artist page. Shockingly enough, I've never clicked on an album, looked at the track list featuring 8 or more songs, and thought to myself, but how can I be sure that this is an album? Just because an album has a title track doesn't mean we need to specify which one's the song and which is the album. Because if you can't tell the difference, I think that's more of a you problem. Like, it's not Heartache Medication, the album, even though Heartache Medication was the lead single for the album, Heartache Medication. It's not Mr. Misunderstood, the album. Even Ernest's first record has a title track, but it's not Locals Only, the album. I get that this is like a minor issue that I'm giving too much time, but I just don't like it. To me, it just makes the title look more cluttered on his artist page, which would have looked so clean had it just been Flower Shops, which I would have been completely okay with. But, like, you'll never see a store open up called, like, Foodland, the grocery store, or, like, a Jordan 1, the shoe. Like we know what it is. But moving on, hopefully I won't get stuck in place for as long as I just did. The album cover is pretty slick. I have my ideas of what the album cover may look like, but I prefer this over anything I had in mind. I love the backdrop with the actual flower shop and the same car that was in the flower shop single cover. Moreover, I love the vibrant, tropical, almost fruity colorway, with the main colors being this light royal blue and hot pink. I know Ernest's wife helps him with some of the visual marketing. I think she was a part of the set creation for the Flower Shops video. And on her Instagram, she's got this very distinct indie psychedelic aesthetic across her timeline, which leads me to believe she played a part in the making of this album cover. Regardless, I think it's really slick, but not what I was expecting. I was expecting it, like, color-wise to be a little more dusty with warm yellows and greens and browns, like we've seen on his other single covers, which transitions nicely into what was probably the biggest shock for me, at least, and that is American Rust did not make the track list. I know it wasn't a big hit for him like Flower Shops, but I just assumed based on the continuity in the colors and whatnot that it was going to land a spot on the track list, but it didn't. I'm not necessarily bothered by this, and hearing the new music, I can see how the tinny, dusty, very bright sound may have stuck out amongst the others, but that just kind of surprised me a little bit. But now we can talk about what all of you are probably here for, my thoughts on the music, because he dropped quite a bit all at once. If you remember, just about a week ago, he posted little snippets of 3 songs and asked us which one we wanted him to drop this past Friday. But then as soon as we were expecting to wake up to a new Ernest song, he just went, you know what? Forget everything I said. Here's all 3. And here's the official track list. Now, normally I would be opposed to so many pre-releases all at once because now at this point in time we have 40% of the album, and while I still don't like the idea of dropping all 3 as opposed to just one like he originally said, it's hard for me to sit here and complain when the music is this good. Like, do I think he should have waited 2 weeks to drop the rest alongside the album? Yes, but now that I have all 3 songs, am I glad I do? Also, yes. I actually had a video planned about album rollouts that was inspired by this Ernest rollout back when he was teasing the songs on his Instagram. I don't know why I said had, since I still plan to finish the video at some point soon, because it was inspired by Ernest, but not based on him. But yeah, I say this because in the long run, do I think it would have been more rewarding had he stuck to his word and only dropped one of the tracks? Yes, but like I said, it's hard to complain with what he's given us. I think one of the most interesting parts about hearing these songs is hearing the influence Ernest's writing has on Morgan Wallen's style. At this point, it's no secret Ernest is one of Morgan's main songwriters, but it's interesting hearing these songs being sung by Ernest himself. I don't mean this next thing as an insult or a bad thing, but most of these songs sound like they could have easily been on Dangerous. And furthermore, I find it a lot easier now when I'm listening to Dangerous to pick out the songs Ernest wrote. He's got a real knack for these quick cadences, as you see on Some Other Bar, for example, and even structurally and stylistically, you can see how his style helped shape Dangerous, which, as a music nerd, I find really cool to see. As for the songs themselves, my favorite is definitely Feet Wanna Run. It was the song I was most excited for out of the bundle, and boy did it ever pull through. I think the strongest part is definitely the chorus. It's so dynamic and unorthodox in how it flows. I absolutely adore the walk up halfway through the chorus when he's singing like Chasing That Sunset. I really like how the layers stack on top of each other to create this super dense atmosphere. The steel just blowing around like wind in the background, loving the percussion and how soft it is. I mentioned this on the podcast, which, assuming this video goes up when I hope it does, the podcast episode I'm referring to would have gone up about an hour ago. But anyways, I mentioned how this song in particular seems to have this foggy, mysterious energy around it, like you're just swimming in musical uncertainty. It's not quite sad, it's not quite happy, it's hanging out in this really cool middle stage. Yeah, Feet Wanna Run, absolute banger. As for the other two, I think they're both pretty good. I definitely prefer Some Other Bar to What It's Come To. I think lyrically What It's Come To can sort of wander off at times, but I do like Ernest's enunciation of certain words, and also whatever those like keys or synths, whatever that little walk down in the transitions is, I really think that's a cool bubbly touch. Just all of that adds a lot of character to the song that wouldn't otherwise be there. Some Other Bar is definitely the catchiest of the three, even if it's not my favorite. I find it so cool how they use the percussion to give this illusion of the tempo speeding up when really they just added a few extra hits on each beat. Yeah, I mean, I'll give more thoughts on each song in the next episode of New Music Friday, which I badly hope to get out on time. I always set Monday as my target, but man, this semester is not being very kind to me. My teachers have been dishing out assignments like I've got nothing better to do, so this week's New Music Friday might be a little later than I want, but whenever that does come out, you can expect to see some similar but more articulated thoughts on these new songs. Other than that, I think I've flushed out my system. I think I've cleared the vents. You can bet I'll be counting down the days until March 11th, which is when this album is set to drop. Yeah, now looking back, I guess I never mentioned when the album is actually set to drop. It's March 11th. I'm hyped. You should be too. Ernest, if you're watching this, thank you for not announcing it was going to come in like June. I deeply appreciate you getting it out to us in a timely manner. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, thumbs up would really help the channel out. If you're new, maybe consider subscribing for more country music content. Maybe consider sharing this to a fellow follower who may like this. Links to my Instagram, Discord, and podcast are all down below in the description. New episode of the podcast is out now. And until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. I'm going to go get a shower, bro. My voice is toast this early in the morning.